Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. I don't care if I ever get back. Let me root for the home team.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Fantasy Basebrawl. I'm Naz. Today we're going to do another segment of the 7th inning stretch, which is basically just a random episode where I say we discuss, but there's nobody else here except me. But I give my thoughts about various topics in Magic, or at least with Arena. So this week I decided, and I mentioned it in my earlier video, I think the one from yesterday, there's always an ongoing debate if and how much is Arena rigged. I have my own theories about that. Specifically, I feel as if the pattern is there are certain spells that you will always seem to see early on in a match when they're at their most useful because of their casting cost. I tend to refer to these as the Power 1, not because they're powerful like the Power 9 of Magic, but because their mana value is 1. They're very, very useful and powerful cards that cost 1 mana, but they're always at their best like in the early game. In other words, you almost never see these beyond turn 10, and you almost always see them by turn 5. So I'll have been flashing up what I consider cards like this, especially in the Brawl format, in what used to be called Historic, but now just Brawl, because you have these cards. You only get, it's a singleton format, so you get 1 out of 100 chance to, or technically 1 out of 99, and then there's 7 cards that you draw it. So you have roughly a 7% chance of it being in the opening hand. At least, yeah, I think that's how that works. I'm not great with math stuff, so bear with me. But even if it's not in your opening hand, it tends to be drawn and used by the 5th turn. And so what I thought we'd do today is I'm going to see just how often we come across these cards. So I'm not even going to bother showing you the deck that I made, because these matches essentially, we're not playing to win. We're only trying to do one thing in this experiment, and that's to see if we get what I consider one of these 3 cards. If we get one of those by turn 5, if not in the opening hand. My prediction is, and we're going to try to do this over the course of about roughly, about 40 minutes. So we're in for a long haul here, and it could be pretty monotonous because, again, we're not even going to play to win. If we see these cards either by us or even the opponent, if the opponent happens to splash white, because as I've said before, it's amazing to me how many 5-color prismatic decks I've seen where somehow my opponent always has Swords to Plowshares by turn 5. It's just ridiculous. So if by turn 5, whether or not we see these cards, the match is over and we move on to the next one. We're just trying to see if today, in this stretch of time, just how often we see these cards pop up. I'm anticipating Swords to Plowshares alone at a 75% rate by turn 5. But with all 3 combined, I'm going to go out on a limb and say 90% that we're going to see these cards. Either I'm going to have it or my opponent's going to have it. So, we'll see what we can do. I'll try to keep an active tally on the screen while we're doing this. And, let's see what we can see. Let's play Brawl. So this is just a fairly simple white devotion deck that I put together about a month or two ago. I haven't really made much improvements to it. And we're just... Oh, and by the way, another rule. I can't mulligan until I see what I see. As long as it's a usable hand, we're gonna take it. And to me, this is usable enough, I think. So we're at turn 2. It's turn 3. Turn 4. And turn 5. So we did not see any of those. Interesting. All right. You know, and I understand there's confirmation bias. It might always seem like the game doesn't go your way. Lord knows I've felt that way numerous times playing this game since I first started playing it back when. But we shall see what happens. There's not going to be any selective editing. You're literally going to see every single match that I'm trying this experiment with. That's turn 2, by the way. So we're at turn 3. Turn 4. Turn 5. All right. Not with this one either. Just a decent hand to work with, so we'll just keep it. Turn 2. Turn 3. Turn 4. turn 5. Well, may not be as prevalent as we thought. Of course, if for some reason the opponent concedes before turn 5, then, or if we somehow win before turn 5, I guess we wouldn't count that toward the statistic. All right, workable hand. Alright, turn 2. I might run this experiment in the future. And if I do, though, I'll probably include where I can mulligan down to 5 at maximum to see what happens. Turn 3. Turn 4. You know, I don't even know why I'm playing anything. I don't really have to play this. All we have to do is just literally just keep skipping turns. That would speed everything up pretty quickly, but... I mean, you could say whatever you want about me rage quitting. I'll do that long before I'm roping. I'll have to edit this down if this guy keeps roping it. Or whatever he's doing. Maybe he's disconnected. It's really too early to tell. If this were late game, then I'd suspect they were roping. Okay, turn 5. Did not see it. We did get one card with mana value 1, but that doesn't count. We're specifically looking for things that are at their most valuable when you get them early in the game. You know, I'm really glad that we're now getting good partner mechanic in digital Commander now. That's cool. I hope they have more partner cards in the future. I mean, theoretically, I would go with a hand like this, so we'll keep it. I will say this. I think I've been the first turn every time so far. That's kind of odd. In that regard, I would very much like there to be some kind of like coin flip system where you get a chance to, you know, call a coin flip for who goes first. beat us. We're on turn 3. Of course, he's wearing white. There's always a chance that we could have seen him have one of those cards. Okay. On turn 4. Okay, it's turn 5. Well, I'm kind of pleasantly surprised. Not getting any of the cards I predicted we would. Let me pause real quick to check the time. Admittedly, I don't know if we need a full hour of gameplay. I mean, if we start seeing the pattern is the exact opposite. So now it's white versus white. So we should... There we go. Swords to Plowshares. There's the first one. Just for fun, let's mulligan. See what we get on the mulligan. There's Swords to Plowshares again. All right, so this is the first time we've seen Swords to Plowshares specifically, and I don't feel like it's a coincidence. It's the first time the card that we saw the first of. I kind of wanted to maybe stick around and see what my opponent had. That'd be really funny if we both had swords in the opening hand or in the first 5 turns. Alright, so full disclosure, last opponent scooped at 4. We didn't get a chance to get to turn 5. Here we go with mono white versus mono white again, so let's see if... Okay, nope. I can work with this hand, so we'll go ahead and keep it. Okay. Okay, turn 2. I've always wanted to make a Gideon tribal deck. See if that would work. I've done it with Liliana. It worked okay, but not particularly dominant. That's 3. Four. Well, he got an exiling effect, but it's not Swords to Plowshares, so it doesn't count. Soul Warden again. I seem to get Soul Warden fairly often. But, nope, not this time. I probably will in the future, but I'll give it some time to breathe. Try this experiment again, but where I can mulligan down to 5. As far as I know, I think the only thing that Wizards has ever admitted to is that, well, there's the Sentinel, so we finally got another one. And I can work with this one, so we'll go ahead. Now we're going to see if we can specifically get Swords to Plowshares. Wizards has admitted there's some kind of like hand smoothing algorithm. I think it, it anticipates if you get a decent amount of lands or something to that effect, but I forget exactly how it works. Yeah, opponent winning on something. Ironically enough, well, yeah. I'd only use that as an example. I hadn't actually anticipated on seeing it. I don't know if I should add that to the stat. So it's turn 3. It's 4. At the rate we're going, I'd be actually amazed now if we actually saw it occur half the time. Pulling these cards. Bit funny if we would have drawn into swords, but
Haven't you ever heard of personal?
Let's turn 5.
Fine, I'll take my zombies and leave.
Actually, it's a decent opening hand. But them's the rules. Ah. You know, and nobody asked for something like this. I just thought it'd be interesting to run this experiment. You know, full disclosure. I already told you about the one match that I didn't include because we didn't get to turn 5. So you can see with your own eyes what I see. You don't have to just take my word for it. See, I wouldn't consider this a workable hand. So I'll go ahead and mulligan this one. See, this I can work with. And we got the Benelish Marshall again, though. So, again, Shuffler's fine, though. Okay, turn 2. Three. Okay, turn 4. And turn 5. Didn't get it. And it's not enough to simply say, oh, like, you know, the opponent had removal. You know, you're playing against black. Black always got something. I always assume that when I put something out on the board against a mono black player, it's dying. So if an opponent happens to play, well, I had, was it Get Lost? Is that the one that creates map tokens when you destroy stuff? Ay, ay, ay. The Soul Warden again. God, maybe we should have, you know. I mean, it is one casting cost, and it does benefit you if you get it out in the early game. But I did name the 3 cards I thought we would see, so I won't include Soul Warden. Maybe in a future experiment. Okay, turn 2. Oh, Swords to Plowshares. There it is. Turn 3. There it is, Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, I could work with this hand, I guess. Another Kenan Bonder prodigy. Kenan or Kynan? Kin. By the way, I really like these card sleeves. The ones that are like essentially Mox's based on the guild colors. You know, what'll probably end up happening is that this experiment won't turn out the way I wanted to, or I didn't think the way it would. And then when I start going back to playing Magic offline, I'll start getting Swords to Plowshare left and right. Turn 4. Okay. That doesn't count as the 5th turn, obviously. That's his extra turn. Oh, no, we can try to draw. We'll try drawing for it. But nope. But, yeah, this, I'm actually pleasantly surprised. Like an idiot, I'm not recording this on paper. I probably should have been doing that. I was going to go back and review the footage later before I edited it. But yeah, I can use this hand. Yeah. Plus my opponent is running Loros, so there's a chance they've got it. That's 2. 3.
Fall back.
Okay, turn 4.
Bread and water. My sand will protect you.
Okay, no, didn't get it.
I will guard your advance.
You know, our opponents are probably wondering, like, what is he doing? Like, probably thinks, you know, probably thinking to himself, like, man, my opponent's got a pretty good position. Why is he just giving up? Okay, against an Orzhov deck, so that could prove useful. There are Swords to Plowshares. Swords to Plowshares. I almost wonder if me quitting is doing something to the matchmaking system, and that could be skewing the results. It's also possible we could be seeing a string of these cards showing up. Okay. This I would not consider a workable hand, because I don't know if I'm going to get that third land. I have no mana rocks. So we'll go ahead and mulligan. I guess this could work. Another mono white deck. Oh, cool. They're kind of running a similar idea. Turn 3. He's holding priority. I wonder if that means if he's got it. before. I wanna, if he's got Swords to Plowshares, this should bring it out. Oh, nope. Doesn't matter. We do not get it. Something to remember me by. I mean, obviously, I don't, you know. Again, I'm not playing to impress or strategize, whatever. We're just basically trying to run the clock to see what we get. Speaking of which, let me check for how much time we've run. One sec. So I think I've been recording for a total of about 47 minutes. That included the introduction. So I think probably go another 5 more minutes of footage. It's already not looking good for my theory. I think we saw Esper Sentinel once. We haven't seen Authority of the Consuls, and not even once. The Swords to Plowshares. I think I mentioned earlier, I didn't finish my train of thought. The, you know, what you see in reality versus what statistics tell you is very different. There's something called the gambler's fallacy. And I'm not heavily, what's the word I'm searching for? I'm not heavily immersed in statistics or mathematics, anything like that. There's Soul Warden again, by the way. I mean, theoretically, I could work with this hand, so we'll go for it. We'll see what happens. So the gambler's fallacy is the idea that when you take a statistic and you, I think this is how it works, you apply it to the real world, you tend to find out that it's not as accurate as it's supposed to be. In other words, if you take something that's like a 50-50 statistic, flipping a coin, and you were to flip that coin 100 times, you would expect it to be reasonably you'll get about 50 heads or 50 tails, like almost that often. But when you actually apply it in real life, what you end up finding is that you go on these long streaks where you flip nothing but heads. You'll get 15, 20 heads in a row. And you may not even get 50-50 or even close to it. So, and I'm going to leave this in, but I won't count it for the statistic because I don't want to cut out the part about me talking about the gambler's fallacy. But it's the idea that things don't happen the way they're anticipated. I mean, I don't even know if there is a formula. I mean, that's what we're trying to figure out. I mean, I was saying my guess was that we would see Swords to Plowshares at least 75% of the time, and any one of the the 3 cards that I named about 90% of the time. But yeah, what you anticipate versus what happens in real life doesn't cross over. They say the gambler's fallacy is why casinos work. That's how they're profitable. Because even though statistically someone's got to win, you don't always get a win. And that's how casinos rake in money off people just dumping it in. This isn't a workable hand. I don't really consider this a workable hand either, but I'll do it one more time. Yes, this is fine. 2. Three. Four. I'm concerned my opponent's gonna scoop right here, but wait. Ironically enough, this commander I feel almost always plays out the same way. Usually gets that shrine that lets you get mana at the first part of your main phase. Usually see that in the opening, or that 5-color prism shrine typically hits by about turn 5 to 6, or 5 or 6, not 5 to 6. You can see it there. Again, probably leaving the opponent wondering, like, what's this guy doing? I want to make a unit deck one of these days. Seems like it'd be fun to build around. I guess I could consider this a workable hand. Again, I'm trying not to mulligan into it. In the future, if I decide to try again with that criteria where I can mulligan down to 5, I'd be curious to see what the statistics change to, but if they change. There we go, Source to Plowshares. You know, I honestly thought we would see Authority of the Consuls more often. I used to play that, or pull that card a lot when I was running it. Strangely enough, none of our opponents have had Swords to Plowshares yet. I wouldn't consider this extremely workable because there's no creatures to defend Basri, so we'll go mulligan. Kind of the same problem. Can't really cast. I'll try one more time for the mulligan as like a legit can't play the hand. Yeah, see, I can actually play this. It's not great, but you know, I tend to put my faith in a lot of 3-land hands. Ironically enough, I see this card a lot with this commander. There's the Sentinel. We'll see if we get swords by turn 5.
Who are you to call me? I summon you.
Okay, turn 3. Ironically enough, this seems to be like it was given to me because of the opponent. Okay, turn 4. Here we go. Swords to Plowshares on turn 5 on cue. Although it almost seems like they gave it to me because of this. Like, haha, you got swords, but not to get rid of this. Try next time. But anyway. Only got a couple more minutes left. I wouldn't... well... I guess I could work with this hand. Pretty cool art. Get lost. On turn 3, we can lure him into using, if they've got Swords to Plowshares. Might just be a counter. Although, no, he'd have to be on the board for it to hold priority with swords. Okay, we're on turn 4. I'm recording this early in the morning. You have to bear with me. I'm pretty tired. Oh, Jace. That's 5. Alright, I'm going to do one more. This is going to be the last one. Actually, I'll do one more legit one. And then after that, I'm going to try to mulligan down and see what we get. That'll be like a little bonus. I won't count that toward the statistic. Consider this workable. There's finally authority of the consuls. But really nothing else. And there's Swords to Plowshares. And like I said, just for funsies, let's see what happens if we just mulligan. Can we mulligan to just see if we get it? Not really a gray hand anyway. They're swords. But that one didn't count. I like how it's like manually. I've never mulliganed this far down. I like how it doesn't just automatically return the cards. Like, oh, you have to do it yourself because, you know, they can't program it that way. Anyway. And there you have it. So, like I said, I was an idiot and I didn't keep a running tally on paper. So I'm going to have to go back and review the footage. And I'll go ahead and share, you know, the results. And in fact, I'll most likely be putting a running tally in the video itself. It's just that I don't know what that's going to be yet. And I'll discuss it once I've done it, once I've edited it this far. So I'll be taking a short break, and then I'll get back to discussing the results. All right, so we played a total of 21 games. Remember, we weren't counting games where the opponent scooped before game 5, or turn 5, sorry. And out of those 21 games, 8 of them had swords to plowshares appear in the first 5 turns, and there was one game where we saw the Esper Sentinel. So I did not count. I know there was another game where we had the Esper Sentinel, but then we later drew Swords to Plowshares. I consider that a Swords to Plowshares game. So that means games played, we had 21. 8 games had Swords to Plowshares, which brings us to 38% of all games. And then we had 1 game with the Esper Sentinel for a total of 9 games, wherein the quote, Power 1 quote, were in the first 5 turns, which adds up to about roughly, these are all rounded up, 43% of the time. So, no, it wasn't nearly what I thought it would be. So, again, I mean, there's no way to really prove it. I mean, I could go on and play with this with the deck for another, 20 more games, maybe every time I get Swords to Plowshares. As a matter of fact, if I ever run this experiment in the future, again, I'm going to try where it's like, to hell with it. I'm gonna mulligan down to 5, no matter what, to see if I can get these cards, and then try to play anyway and see what happens. And that might be part of it, if there is, Like I said before at the beginning of this video, there's likely confirmation bias. It seems like more often than not, when you have these big, powerful cards played against you, it always seems like they always come at the wrong time. It's very rare where I could say unequivocally it was, like a lucky top deck. Usually that's when, the opponent has no cards in hand and they draw, the perfect card off the top without, scrying or searching. So, I don't know. I don't know why I did this. Maybe because I wanted to see it for myself. Maybe just to see. I admit I'm mildly concerned that out of all those cards, the Swords to Plowshares was far more common than the other 2. Maybe because it's removal. That might lend to my theory that it's useful of 1 mana value removal, so you'll see it more often than not. So we didn't make it quite to 50%, even for any of those 3 cards to show up. But again, in a future experiment, we can try that out differently. But maybe, hey, if you're having issues with the the shuffler, if you think that the game is biased or rigged, this doesn't completely absolve it. Like I said, I still think it's odd that we saw, and I wasn't even tracking it, but how often we saw the spirit, was it Spirit Cleric? I can't remember. But yeah, I'd say, honestly, maybe it is just confirmation bias. And until a further experiment shows otherwise, there's really no reason to to look at it that way. It just really did seem like, you'd see, God, I remember I used to see Authority of the Consoles. It was like almost every other game I'd play against a white deck. Like guaranteed. Or, maybe it doesn't show up as soon as you thought. Maybe it was turn 7, maybe turn 10. And it just seems sometimes the games go so fast, especially with like mono white weenie, that the turns just fly by. And it wasn't really 5 turns, it was like 10 turns. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little experiment of ours. You can check out these channels for other fun Magic videos. And if you enjoyed what you see, please like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. I'm almost up to 500 subscribers, which would put me into consideration for monetization for videos. That would be pretty swell. Not that I expect this channel to explode. It'd be great if it did. Had this experiment run the way I thought it would, this channel probably would have exploded because everybody would be talking about this video with evidence but that's not what happened today. So, but anyway, I hope you have a good day, and I hope we find you safe at home. Thank you.
If they don't win, it's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out at the old ball game.